we haven't seen an increase in crowds, probably more of a drop-off.
While I love the idea, I think it's been a bit of a flop. G'day, Couch Critics. We're back again. Before we dive in, don't forget to leave a like on this video and subscribe if you're new here. We're aiming for 25 likes on this video as we chat about the Festival of Football, February's Festival of Football in the A-League. Did it work? Was it successful? Well, let's dive in now. Bradley, the Festival of Football in February, there was supposed to be nearly a game every day of the A-League February calendar. Some of those games got postponed still here and there. Weather, stadium stuff, COVID. What have you made it? It was $20 general admission tickets. Have we actually seen that pretty good offer snapped up by people? And has this February been a good advertisement for the A-League? Lots in that. Unpack that.
Statistically speaking, we haven't seen an increase in crowds, probably more of a drop-off, but that's the rescheduling midweek games. Team like Perth moving a game to Launceston at a very late notice. No, statistically speaking, there hasn't been an increase in crowd. I check the crowd figures quite often, and it's really been downhill all season. $20 is a pretty good bargain. But for probably myself and you, I don't think we're too phased about the price. Maybe we want to go to the game. We want to go watch the A-League. We might hunt around for the cheaper ticket, but I don't think the cost of a ticket is going to make up our mind, or at least for me, it's not going to make up my mind whether I go or not. I mean, I forked out some pretty decent tickets prices at the Wanderers for the derby against Sydney FC for $40, and then a couple of days later they're like, "Oh, you can get these tickets for, was it $10, $20?
$10. $10 for the northern stand only, just for 48 hours, but I'm jumping on that.
Yeah, get around that. I mean, by the time this video comes out, that offer's probably over, but definitely get around that. I don't think people have jumped on that deal as the A-League would have hoped.
Do you think it's been a good advertisement for the A-League?
I think it's a pretty good deal. I think, we know football is the most played sport in this country, and if a kid's like, "Oh, mum, dad, can we go to a soccer game tonight?" and it's only $20, mum and dad will be like, "Yeah, it's pretty good value." The kickoff time might be the deterrent, the 7:45 on a midweek game. I don't think 7:45 is too much of an issue on Saturday. I mean, if it is, come on, it's a Saturday. Let the kids stay up to 2 a.m. watching football. But yeah, I think the kickoff times haven't been particularly good. There was Western United hosting Sydney FC one game, which kicked off at like 5:30 in the middle of Melbourne. Yeah. I mean, your parents are probably clocking off work at 4:45. By the time you get home in the suburbs of Melbourne, and like you've missed kickoff, I think. And then like the quarter day one on a midweek game, yeah, I think that's pretty late. I think 7. But after 7, 7:15 is probably the sweet time for a midweek game, because it's not too late, but it's not too early. At least I don't think. Like, I don't have kids, and you haven't been taking a Tommy to any games anytime soon. But yeah, I don't know. What do you think, Samuel?
Yeah, look, I was quite excited by the prospect. My wife maybe not so much of football being on pretty much every night. For me, who I love to just chuck it on. That's been great, but I don't think I've really taken advantage of it to go to games, and so I'd be interested to see what the kind of stats in terms of viewership has been. And I don't think Paramount Plus really put out how many. I don't know if they know how many people are actually watching games. Hope they do. But the crowds. Look, we know COVID. Like, I'm not digging into crowds as a whole, more so that, there's been this campaign for a while that 20 is plenty, and rightly so. For a general admission ticket, which isn't always the best view, you're kind of behind the goals, which some people don't like. They think you've got to watch from the side like a TV.
And get a ticket on the side.
Yeah, but for $20, that's a pretty good deal to go and watch some football.
I don't know, mate. MacArthur's in crisis, as you say those words.
That's right.
Should pay a minimum of $75. Okay, it's probably not that bad, but anyway.
there's always this thing about, they're just trying to give away tickets, the A-League's dead. But actually football should be affordable for people to go to. So I've got nothing against that. I just don't think it's been the best executed plan. I think there's been a lot of catch-up games, but COVID is still kind of wreaking a bit of havoc. I think most of the squads are out of that now, which is great, and we're starting to get back to some normalcy. But it's just not quite worked. And so February is going to end just as we're kind of coming out of this COVID. I'm not keeping an eye on the stats of COVID, but in terms, masks come off and stuff like that. So maybe March would have been the better time. The league wasn't to know this, but, in terms of festival of football, I don't know if it's really grabbed attention outside soccer circles. It hasn't really gotten bums on seats in those general admission kind of seats. And so while I love the idea, I think it's been a bit of a flop just on that kind of basis. And I'd love to hear what the APL thinks. Like, how do they assess this plan to try and promote football a bit, if they're happy or not with it? Viewers, let us know. We probably should try and reach out to Danny Townsend, because he loves to go on podcasts and stuff. If you'd like to see us reach out to Danny Townsend, leave a like on the video, and that'll tell us that you want us to
I'll wear my Wanderers jersey.
Go for it,
I will. Anyway.
But, I wonder if they think it's been successful or not. The other thing, the kickoff times are problematic for me. It's too late for midweek. Yeah. It's interesting. I don't know if 7:45 is prime time. I would have thought more 7 o'clock, or does that bump up against news?
Well, I think news is wrapped up by 7, but then that's when those big hitting shows like maths and all that kind of stuff is on at 7. I don't know if Channel 10 has that, but
that's really what it is, though, isn't it? A-League isn't prime time. It's not important enough to put in that slot. They put it afterwards, hoping those prime time viewers maybe cross over. And to be honest, that's only on a Saturday night. Every other game is Paramount Plus. So I don't think it really matters if it's prime time or not. But the whole idea around these kickoff times was to move out of the heat of the summer. Poor A-League women's teams are still playing in that.
And poor A-League men, like they're all playing in the heat.
That's right. But I don't think it's helped fans get along. It's a late night, kicking off just before 8 means you're not finishing until about 10. People aren't, if you're catching trains and stuff, it's like 10:30 by the time you get home, which is, look, it's doable. But
and the trains are shut anyway. The trains aren't running right now, so whatever. You have to walk or drive.
And I just, personally, I think if you're trying to play later and later to get out of the heat, winter's there, but that's another battle. I know you're talking about stadiums and NRL and who gives a crap. But, I just think it's funny. They're trying to counteract these problems and just opening up new problems. So whether or not it's the best way forward, I don't know. But look, I've enjoyed watching football this February. It's been great. I'm going to finish it off by watching Sydney FC on my birthday. So,
who they're playing?
They're playing against Melbourne City at Cogra. It's also Ryan Grant and Callum Talbot's birthday. So, Ryan Grant, if you're watching, give us a shirt. Yeah.
And a game like that, though, that should be 12,000 plus, like even more than that, really. I mean, these two teams have played in the past 2 grand finals.
Yeah, and it's a Saturday night kickoff. Like it's
prime time. This is the best game of the round. Well, actually, I haven't looked at the round, but you'd assume it would be up there. Yeah. This should be easy 10K at the game. Yeah. And make use of that $20. Yeah, $20 tickets, and that's great. Like that should be well attended. Like in theory, it should be well attended. In reality, well, I guess we'll wait and see. Yeah. I don't think the weather's going to be particularly kind, but get over it. It's just a bit of rain, although it'll be a lot easier when you move into the new Sydney Football Stadium.
Yes, and look, I wonder if a lot of fans are kind of Sydney fans are waiting for that. But yeah, look, that's going to be maybe a good end in terms for me for the February festival of A-League football. At least Wanderers are trying to keep it going by offering these $10 tickets for the derby. So hopefully lots of people buy that and they get that end really packed out. I'll be sure to wear my blue in amongst the sea of red and black.
But isn't that the problem that, the Sydney Derby was our biggest draw card in this competition, and they're now having to offer super cheap bargains to get people to go?
That's right. It used to be a hot ticket. You used to have to get in on the day to get your ticket.
Yep.
Look, I hope teams continue with this. MacArthur, please listen. Offering cheap tickets is not a sellout. It actually incentivizes everybody getting around our game. Families being able to attend a game for a reasonable price. 20 is plenty. I love that idea. I hope that the league kind of sticks with it. I hope when they assess this, they don't just go, well, $20 tickets don't work, let's bin that. Because actually, I think some of the blame falls on them scheduling and just some of the circumstances that we're in at the moment. So, look, everything around this season has kind of been disastrous. The new TV deal hasn't really boomed like we hoped it would. Let's give it a couple of seasons. COVID's played, just a big part. Next season will be better, right?
Yeah. I do think in the coming weeks, so I think it will pick up because for 2 weeks now, we haven't had a single game postponed, except for, as we record right now, the coming weekend with Brisbane and the monsoon that's hitting the Queensland capital right now. But we've really gone through a couple of periods where there hasn't been any postponements. The next couple of weeks look promising. I think once we have the normality going, like the first 4 weeks of the competition when we played every single game that was scheduled, I think the crowds, while not as great as they could be, they weren't as bad as they are now. So I think fans want normality. Fans want to know months in advance, this is the game I'm going to go to. I'm going to plan to go to these games. I think when normality and all that around the schedule come back, I think crowds will increase. I think it's still a way off till we get to those crowds pre-COVID or even during the heights of 2014, 15. But I'm optimistic. I'm one of a handful of optimistic A-League fans that I feel like things will pick up once normality sets in, and we're just not there right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, the finals could be the balm, the salve, the finals could really kick off and get great attendances and be...
Unless Western United host a game.
Western United up against MacArthur. They just stand and look at each other for about 15 minutes. Now, look, the finals could really finish off the season and maybe help us look back fondly. I hope that's the case. I hope the season continues on an upward trajectory and that we get a good spectacle kind of come the grand final. That would be nice. But look, it's not all doom and gloom, but there's definitely some issues that we still need to figure out. Well, that's probably a good place to wrap up on this video. Please do leave a like if you have enjoyed, and if you want to see us hit up Danny Townsend, and don't forget to leave your comments down in the comment section. Let us know what you think about the 20s plenty. Have you gotten along to a game because of cheaper tickets? Has it made a difference to you? And are you excited for the end of the season just because it's the end?
Yeah, keen to get it over and done with.
Yeah, let us know all those things. And we'll definitely be back next week with some more videos. Until then, see you around.